Scano Swaguego. Just going to make a quick video, or try to make a quick video on syllable count words. So there's words in Seneca that will lengthen or not be lengthened depending on the syllable count. There's not really an indicator in the dictionary or anything that tells you if it is or isn't a syllable count word, so you just got to kind of come across them. We were lucky enough to have a teacher that pointed out a lot of syllable count words and how they work, and you're going to come across them. So as you're learning and as you're teaching, you want to know which ones those are and communicate that to the students. So one of the things I noticed is that some students don't even know what a syllable is when you say that. So syllable is like the number of sounds in a word. So these are the 5 words I'm going to try to go through real quick. But if we go through, like, if I just take the first one, and if I say gadongweta, right? So we have gadongweta. So it's got 4 syllables, gadongweta. And sometimes I think of it as, 1, 2, 3, 4. So depending if they're even or odd, you're gonna have lengthen or no lengthen. If I was to negate that word, date, gadongweta. So adongweta has to do with, feeling good, feeling all right, being okay. So gadongweta, I feel good, I'm okay, I'm all right. But then it switches to date gadongweta for I don't feel good or I'm not all right. So there you can see, like, there's a lengthen right here versus there's just a top and versus a top. So that's where that lengthen is going to happen on that spot right there. So this one is even, right? This has 4 syllables. Ga dong gui ta. This one, because we add the negation, date, ga dong gui ta. So this one has 5. So some of these syllable count words had an even or an odd count. And most of them, if it's odd, you're going to have the lengthen where it is. So you can count syllables. If you want to teach syllables, you can count syllables and do all that. But I just found that to be really tedious. And I think if you want to know why there's a lengthen or no lengthen, then there's your explanation. If it's an even or odd count, syllable count word, or you can say that this is a syllable count word. But you can also just teach it with the sounds, So when you listen to speakers do it, there's words that get syllable count if you add something on them. So if you add like wasate, even wagayo to make something new or old, if you put those on some nouns, it actually becomes a syllable count word with that ending. So little things like that, like just paying attention to those. So if we do this first one here, and if I just the first one is an A stem, adenotop. So I'm going to do my conjugations for those. The only one that's going to overlap for sure is that nasal O. So we have W, we have, and so these are your conjugations, right, for and then you'll have these overlaps as well. So this will serve us for the A stems we're going to have. All right. So if we just take the base of the word, right? If we just take the base, this is a habitual version of the word. Adenota, to sing regularly or to be a singer. So by itself, the root already has no lengthen. All right, adenota, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's already even, so there's no lengthen. Adenota. So when you put it with some of these conjugations, it doesn't even, the conjugation doesn't affect it. It doesn't add any extra syllables by adding this to, right? So this here, adenotat, still gadenotat, sadenotat, hadenotat, yondenotat, wadenotat, nyadenotat, snядenotat, yadenotat, gyadenotat. Right, now this one's going to be a problem, but we'll get to that in a second here. Dwadenotat, swadenotat. None of these, like this only has one part. They don't add an extra syllable to adenotat. So you can just keep it as adenotat. And you can just get used to that sound. Gadenotat, sadenotat, snядenotat, yadenotat, dwadenotat, right? You just, if you can use those in sentences, you'll get used to that sound. That, you know, if you negate them, that'll change it, but we won't worry about that right now. So if I take the other one, though, if I was to take the other one, this one's adenota, adenota. So when I use this one, that one is not going to work with all these now because we already decided that these ones already have no lengthen. But here, agya, that does add another syllable. If it was just gya, it wouldn't, but it's agya. Agyadenota, henondenota, wenondenota, aguadenota, right? So if you can get yourself used to those sounds, you'll catch on to the rhythm of the word rather than sitting there and counting syllables. Just get used to that sound so you have a mental representation in your head of how it sounds. Aguadenota, wenondenota, henondenota, agyadenota. All right? So that's the only ones where you're going to use this extended lengthened nota. All the other ones are going to be adenota. So that works for that. And that does the same thing with this word here, the adongweta, which is to be well, to be fine, to be okay. It's still a stem. So gadongweta, sadongweta, hadongweta, yondongweta, wadongweta, right? And you can go through this whole thing here. And it's when you hit these ones right here where it's going to mess up, right? Dwadongweta, swadongweta. And I can't use it with these because these add the extra syllable, so I'm not going to go with those. But now you normalize hearing the lengthen on those other ones. All right? Agyadongweta, henondongweta, wenondongweta, aguadongweta. You get used to that lengthen. So whenever they think of these conjugations, they also hear that gweta. Sometimes you have to point it out to them. Some people, they don't hear the lengthen if you don't actually point it out to them. So they might always lengthen it, or they might always not lengthen it. So aguadongweta, wenondongweta, henondongweta, agyadongweta, right? All those are going to do that for that. So there, we're not counting syllables, but if you need to know why, we talked about it earlier in the video, why it does that. So we have other ones too that change a little bit depending on what's going on here. So if I was to use the adoswait dani or adoswait dani, that one uses different pronouns, right? So it's an A stem, but it's also blue prefixes. So you have ug, you have s, you have ho, you have go, you have o, and then you have, like I said, I didn't have to do that. Ongya. Whoops. So you have these And then the last set is and then these ones just come over. So I guess I don't need to draw those. And I'll reduplicate this one here. All right. So if we go through this here, agado sweet dani, agado sweet dani. All right. So this one, ado sweet dani. Well, you got to have something on this one, right? So this one by itself, ado sweet dani. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's already odd. So I'm actually starting with the ones where there is no lengthen. So agado, it adds a syllable. So I got to go to the ones that add a syllable. Agado sweet dani. Onguado sweet dani. Onguado sweet dani. Right? It's going to go with those ones now. It's not going to go with that one. Honondo sweet dani. Onondo sweet dani. That's going to be the same one here as well. Here and here. Honondo sweet dani. Onondo sweet dani. Onguado sweet dani. We kind of did these ones too. Onguado sweet dani. So all those ones are going to have just the dani. Dani. They're not going to have that. Dani. All right. But if we go to the other one, by itself, we said it's already odd. So it already has the lengthen on there. Just the root by itself already has the lengthen. Dani. Adoswe dani. So that's where it comes in. Sadoswe dani. Hodoswe dani. Godoswe dani. Odoswe dani. All these ones have, well, you can use it on this one. Snyadoswe dani. Swadoswe dani. You can use it on those ones, right? That one has dani because these, the swa and the snya and the s and the ho and the go and the o, they don't add an extra syllable. So you have the, and it's already lengthened, the root. So dani. So if you can get that in people's heads to do that, you don't have to go and like count syllables all the time. Now you'll come across words that maybe have a syllable count, and if you're not sure, then go ahead and stop and count the syllables. But for the most part, you don't have to just sit there and count the syllables. There's a couple of other ones here, and maybe I'll save that for a part 2 to just keep this one short. So hopefully that helps if you're teaching students or if you're trying to learn and you come across words that have syllable counts. I just found that to be a more efficient way to get a mental representation in students' heads rather than counting syllables on all the conjugations and then figuring out if it's even or odd and then lengthen or no lengthen. This cuts my work a lot when it comes to teaching syllable count words. So hopefully that helps.